Your words and thoughts can affect everything around you, but how can you prove that? Well, you know that everything is made up of energy, and everything is made up of molecules. So if you've heard of Masaru Emoto, he has done several experiments using water and rice and probably several other things. I first heard of him when I watched What the Bleep, and it showed how he had put different words or spoken different words to water and how the water molecules were affected by that. So if he was nice to it, then the water molecules were beautiful, and if he was mean to it, the water molecules were all messed up. So he also did an experiment using rice where he put thank you on one of them and you idiot on one of the other ones. And then he had one where he just ignored it. And I thought this was a very interesting experiment. So we tried it at home ourselves. So I have here in front of me, I have the different jars of rice that we did for our experiment. So they did actually this for a class, an online class. And the first one that they did, they actually told them to do coherent and incoherent, which is basically the same. So we have the coherent one and then the incoherent one. And then we also had the one that was ignored. And then just for fun, we tried to see if we could change the color of the rice. So we did blue and green. And what was interesting is we did this, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I can't even keep track of how long we did it. And when we first did it, we actually had a hard time yelling at the incoherent one because we just didn't feel like being rude. We're like, well, it's just rice. Why should I be rude to it? And so that kind of shows a little bit in our results, I think you can say when you look at that. So if you take a look, I've got our first one, which is the coherent. And if you look at the jar, it, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it was, being in a jar, it looks pretty good. It's got just a few little spots here, but we said different things like, I love you. We kind of hold it up and be like, oh, I love you. And just be sweet to it like we would like a cat or something. And then we did the incoherent one where we yelled, you can see here, we yelled different things. Now, the funny thing is this one actually doesn't look too bad compared to the coherent one. But we would yell at it and say, I hate you, but I think even though we were saying the words deep down inside, we weren't quite feeling it. And so it ended up not quite how we had, I don't know, hoped maybe. Because in his experiment, it was really like moldy and gross. But the one that was really surprising, you can see right here, is the ignored one. It is so disgusting, and it's like got this white fuzz on. You can't even tell that it's rice anymore. It almost looks like snow on there, and then it's black, and it's so disgusting. And I'll talk about that in a second because I just want to show you the results of the blue and the green because I find them very interesting. So the green, I was kind of thinking, oh, well, maybe it'll just do like green mold or something, but we were thinking like bright green, so at least it could kind of get the idea of what it would look like. And it just got like 2 moldy spots, and I don't know if I'd necessarily say it was green. It was more kind of a black, maybe a hint of green. So it knew that it could probably turn green, and it tried to turn green. But the blue one, very interesting on this one. The blue one almost looks just like the ignored one. It's very fuzzy and it's got a lot of crazy things going on. And I have 2 opinions on that, but I do want to show you, let's see if I can find it here. There's a little section, okay, right here. It kind of looked purplish blue, and I was like, is it really trying to be blue? I couldn't tell. Was this my imagination? It was kind of looking blue. Maybe it's looking a little more black now than it did a few days ago. But to discuss a little bit about why this is the way it is. So if your words can affect the way things are, obviously, you leave something in a fridge for a while and you forget about it and it gets gross. But this one was being acknowledged and being loved. And so nothing bad was really happening to that. And so it's kind of the same thing with your words and the way that you treat people. And even the things around you, your pets, anything like that is going to look like that inside of them. And yourself. You could do that to yourself. If you love yourself, you'll be like this. And if you hate yourself, you'll not be as, because like if you look real quick, look again here. You can kind of tell that this one's more white and this one's more yellow. So this one did get gross. But if you've looked at his experiment, and you can even look up other people's experiments online, a lot of them have really disgusting incoherent. I think that maybe my kids and I were just too nice and it didn't get too bad. We just, in our heart, we don't feel that hate. But in your heart, if you do feel hate, if you look at other people's experiments, it's showing it's gross. And so when you are constantly treating somebody mean, even if you just do it one time, that's affecting them in some way and making them not feel good, and it's making them incoherent, I guess you can say. But the worst is if you're ignored. So you think of people in this world, animals, whatever, that are ignored. Now, some are fine just living on their own in the wild, but like kids, humans that are meant to be loved, and they feel ignored and left alone, it shows in here. Now, we learned a lot in this in the way that we treat each other and treat others. We also, it was a very good thing about a lot of people for many, I don't know how many years, people have blessed their food. And I thought this was very important because just like in Emoto's experiments about water, they would just say thank you to the water and send blessings to the water, and the water became more coherent. Because if you've ever watched I don't remember if it was the same documentary, maybe one specifically about water, where it just showed that water going through pipes in your system are just stressed, and the molecule just looks horrible. But when you say thank you to it, it looks very beautiful, almost like snowflake-like. And so the same thing can go with just blessing your food, the water molecules in there. So my kids and I always tell them now, I said, just be thankful for your food. You don't have to sit down and, do a prayer and say, thank you, God, for this food. But that's what many people do. You can say, thank you, God, for this food, whatever it is you want to do. But you could just look at your food and say, I love you, food. I know it sounds cheesy, but you can tell based on this stuff that, look, do you love your food, or do you don't? You don't care about your food. Some people just take their food and just start eating it. And so you're making the molecules of that food better before you put it into your body. So I want to go now to the green and the blue ones. And what was interesting about these, like I said, the green, I think knew it could probably turn green. And so that's why it started kind of working on that. And I think because we were giving this one attention, it didn't do a lot. The blue one, I think what happened to this, because it was a lot like the ignored. If you've ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza's experiment, where they took a group of people. Now, I may be wrong on everything on here, but it's the gist of it. They had two groups of people, maybe 30 in each group or so, and they each were to meditate on 4 proteins in their body. And they were not to research the proteins or know anything about the proteins. They were just basically supposed to take these proteins that they were given and to meditate on them, I think, all week or something like that. And each group was given Serpin A5, which is a real protein. One group was given 3 other proteins that were real proteins in their body. And then the other group was given 3 made up proteins along with the Serpin A5. And so all week they were meditating on that. And then they took, I think, blood samples or something. And then they showed that the group that focused on Serpin A5 and all the real ones were actually elevated. I think I could be wrong, but I think he said 100% all elevated their levels of Serpin A5. And then the other levels, I think, there was significant changes in a good way on all of those. But the group that had all of the bad or the not real ones, their Serpin A5 levels actually went down, and everything else in their body just got messed up. Basically, they were telling their mind Serpin A5 and then all these other things, and then the body was like, wait a second, this doesn't sound right. This is false information, and it didn't take the order in and just like messed it all up. And so everything was not right. And I'm kind of wondering if that's what happened here with the blue. I'm just wondering if it's like, I can't be blue. How am I supposed to be blue? I don't have proteins inside of me to be blue. Because me personally, I think anything is possible. So why can't rice turn blue? So that's why we were trying this experiment. But I'm thinking that the blue just got the wrong signal. He's like, or he, I don't know, he, she, whatever, got the wrong signal and just said, no, I don't know what to do, and I don't get this. And it stressed it out. And so, like I said, it looks almost just like the ignored one. So this is a really cool experiment to do. We did, I ran into a guy at the grocery store, and we were getting rice, and I don't know how, and I talked about the experiment, and he said he homeschooled his kids, and he did it with water, and then he froze it. And so we attempted to do that experiment here at home because he said it looked really cool. We attempted to do it, and my kids yelled at the one and said, I love you to the other, and then we had control. And then we took the ice cubes out, and we really couldn't tell any kind of a difference in any of them. And then I thought, well, maybe I could put drops of water on a slide, and then we can refreeze that on the slide and then put it on a microscope. So we got out, it's nothing like a strong microscope or anything, but we put it on there, and nothing looks significant on there. I'm sure it works, and maybe if we have a really powerful microscope, and maybe if we had like a deep freeze or something, because I think that by the time we kind of got it on there, you could actually see the bubbles like it was melting, which is kind of cool. It was fun just to do anyway. So I was kind of wishing it would work so we could really see it. I believe that it works from what I've seen Emoto do, and I've just from hearing that guy, I believe it. And I think it's a cool experiment for you to do on your own and see what happens to the rice. But again, like I said, your thoughts and your words really do affect everything around you. I mean, the energy even in your walls, you could be talking, you could be yelling and screaming, and your walls are going to absorb that energy. They're molecules. It's not living. This is somewhat living. I mean, it was living at once, and it's not really living now, but it has water in it, which, everything has life in it. Even if it's dead, it's inanimate. It has atoms, and atoms contain information. And so by you yelling, you're putting information in your walls and everything around your house. And so that energy could just kind of, exude onto you. You walk into a place sometimes and you can just feel the energy of a place, like, oh man, this place feels good, or oh, this place feels kind of creepy, or oh, I just don't like to feel this place. You can kind of feel that. And it's probably from energies that have kind of been left behind by people that have been there, things that have happened in there, who knows. But just be more aware of your thoughts and your words and your actions, because you can end up looking like this to yourself. Be nice to yourself, be nice to others, because you don't want to look like this. You want to look like this, okay? So send love to everyone and everything in this world.